Hi, I'm Joe,
And I'm Daisy.
and this is the Film Joe podcast where we invite you to talk film
We'll talk about the good, the bad,
and the not so bad, all in the spirit and for the love of film. Catch us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast fix.
So join us on the Film Joe podcast,
where film talk happens.
3, 2, 1,
If you like paranormal, true crime, and some cryptids, or just anything weird, check out Ouch! Was That a Ghost? Brought to you by your host, Liz. You can find Ouch! Was That a Ghost on Spotify, Apple, or any audio platform. New episodes drop every Thursday.
News. I'll have the pastrami on rye. Yeah, definitely. With a side of dead Coke. Welcome to the show, folks. This is the Carolina Storyteller, and I am your Carolina Storyteller, Jonathan Phoenix. This week, I want to make an announcement real quick. We have kind of our first official sponsor, Dragon Sky Monarchs Resin Walk. Dragon Sky Monarch has been kind enough to donate subscriptions, and this piece is going to be given away during our June 1st episode that is going to air on June 1st, and we're going to announce who the winner of the big giveaway is. If you want to get in on the giveaway, you need to go to patreon.com/the Carolina Storyteller. Get over there. Subscribe. You can do it for free, so I'd appreciate it if you did it for a little bit of money so you could help me out. You get access to some of the free stuff that I'm trying to give out, the exclusive things, and you can always go over to the merch store from there and buy a shirt or a glass or a hat. Some of these things will be showing up here very soon because I've ordered them so I can show them off. We have stickers. We have a bumper sticker now. Applesauce and aliens must be Saturday. Because as we know, when applesauce shows up, we're talking about aliens. Except for the one time we did Bigfoot. But if you're interested in going and getting some of Dragon Sky Monarch's premium original resin creations, you can go to resinmonk.squarespace.com and get a hold of some of these things. The website's going to be in the links, and of course, they are donating this nice piece. It is a lovely wall-mounted dragon that holds things. And I'm just like, I'm jealous. Why can't I get that? And it's like a $50 piece. And I'm like, that's too much. You can't give that to me. And they were like, yes, we can. And I'm like, well, fine. You're my first official sponsor. So that's how I got my first official sponsor, was they donated something that is more than what I would probably charge for a month of running ads. So, hey, I got a sponsor. Anyway, today we're not actually going to do a ghost story. I'm going to cover something similar. The thing is with ghost stories, they usually follow some sort of history. They're tied to a place. There's a story. But I want to talk about a trio of stories, a trio of urban legends. Yes, urban legends. These are stories that may have originally occurred in some place at some time, but over time and history, they have been taken out of context from where they originally occurred, and they've kind of spread out over the world. So they've gotten this universal, they can happen anywhere. And while I don't want to focus on the original stories, I want to focus on how amazing it is that they've made it this far. Now, I want to start with a modern one that the kids might not get, and here's the reason why. This one involves technology, and it's an interesting story. So let me tell you how the story goes. There is a young girl in my town who passed away. Turns out she was babysitting the kids on a Saturday night. She's waiting for her boyfriend to call, put the kids to bed, and all of a sudden she gets a phone call. It's a man's voice on the phone. I'm coming to get you. Freaks out, hangs up the phone. Phone rings again. It's a man's voice again. Don't you hang up on me. I'm coming to get you. Who is this? You'll never find out. She hangs up the phone and is very freaked out at this point. Phone rings again. I'm coming to get you. She goes, well, I'm calling the cops. And she hangs up the phone and she immediately dials her operator to get police. And she gets in touch with them and they says, we're going to try and trace the call. We'll have officers on the way. Just stay on the line with us. And after 30 seconds, the operator comes back and says, ma'am, you need to get out of the house. Get out of the house now. And she's like, oh, why? And she's like, ma'am, the phone call is coming from in the house. Get out of the house now. And so she drops the phone and immediately runs upstairs to go and get the kids. Only the kids are already murdered in their beds. And as she turns to run out the room, there is this figure holding a knife, and he proceeds to murder her. And by the time the police arrive, he's already gone. Now, a lot of people are like, well, the phone call's coming from in the house. Well, of course, anybody with a cell phone can do that. Haven't you seen Scream? This legend came from before Scream. A lot of you may not know this, but back in the early days of the telephone, if you had more than one phone in your house, you could do this really cool thing where you could pick up your phone and dial your own number. It would beep 3 times. You'd hang up the phone, and then the phone would ring. And if you had 2 phones, you could try and wait for the other person to go pick it up, and then you could pick it up and have a conversation with them. And if they weren't aware of what was going on, which would be kind of hard because there was a constant beep, you know, it was like this open line of communication. You could prank call your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, whoever was in the house with you, you could prank call them if they weren't in on the joke. So this was a very real thing that could happen. Somebody could be in the house, they could dial the number, hang up the phone, and wait to see you pick it up, and then pick it up as well and talk to you. So while this may have occurred at some point in time, the idea that the caller was in the house when there weren't cell phones was very, very scary, because it meant that you'd already been accessed. Now, I've heard variations of the ending of this story. She runs upstairs and she finds the kids mutilated, and she sees something, and she dives out the window, injuring and killing herself, only for the cops to show up and the young boy to sit up and go, did I scare her? I'd slap a kid. I ain't gonna lie. I'd be like, what the hell? I'd slap a kid. But, you know, it's a variation of the story, is that it was the kids playing a prank that killed the babysitter. But either way, the babysitter dies. And this is, of course, one of those horrible, you got to be careful of the babysitter stories meant to scare our young teens. But again, every time I hear this story, the location changes. It's never this occurred in Michigan or this occurred in California. No, this occurred down the street at the Williamson house, or this occurred over there at the Johnson house just several years ago. This is why the Johnson doesn't have any kids. It's because his kids were murdered by this butcher in the night who killed the kids and the babysitter. Oh, again, urban legends. They start as one thing, but they grow into their own kind of creation. Now, talking about urban legends, we've got to touch on the hook hand. Everybody knows this one. You have to know this one because it's stayed relevant. I just pulled my headphone out of my ear. Isn't that lovely? Bloopers, people. This is probably staying in. I'm not cutting it. But it stayed relevant over the past, 60 some odd years, because the activity that it was meant to disparage is still being done today. And I, of course, refer to parking down a lover's lane. So the story goes that a young couple is out for a night together. They are traveling along when they go to the lover's lane. they find a nice spot underneath a large oak, sometimes pecan, sometimes pine, but a very large tree. A nice spot where the moonlight shines and the shade covers, and they begin to be physical with one another. As they're attempting to have their good time, the young girl hears something outside. She immediately goes, "What was that?" The young man is completely oblivious because he is driven by his hormones and does not care what is going on outside. His goal is inside the car. So he goes, "Probably nothing. Don't worry about it." But the noise is there again. The young girl is again freaked out. The young man is now annoyed. Something is interrupting him. There's a word for this that we have that we had as guys, but I can't say it on here because I don't know who might listen to this. It's called cock blocking. But you know, the young man is highly annoyed. But again, he looks around and he goes, "It's probably nothing, baby. We're fine." Then there is a noise a third time. This time because the young man was already distracted from his initial goal, he hears it too, and he is now suspicious. Being the young masculine girl epitome of toxic masculinity, the young man goes, "Wait here. I'll go check it out." And he exits the vehicle, leaving his loved one in the car by herself. A few minutes pass, and she hears some noises, and then she doesn't hear anything. And then suddenly, she hears a tap on the roof of the car. Constant on the roof of the car. She freaks out and jumps into the driver's seat. As she jumps into the driver's seat, she looks in front of her and she sees a man standing in a long coat with like a Undertaker style fedora on, staring at her, and he has a hook for a hand. And he raises up the hook and kind of points towards her, and she cranks the car up, drops it in drive, and floors it. Forget about boyfriend. Who cares? She can get another one. She can't get another life. And as she pulls off, that tapping is still going on. And as she gets out from underneath the boyfriend, she looks and sees that the thing tapping was her boyfriend, struggling to keep his balance on top of the car because he's got a noose around his neck being hung. And as she pulls up from underneath him, he drops and dies. And then the hook man comes at her. And she takes off, leaves the place, drives home, hysterical. And she goes straight to the police station. And police come out and they see her. And as she gets out of the car, she goes to tell them what's happened. And they all look at her like she's funny. But then they look on the back driver's side door of the car. And there is a long scrape going down the car to the handle. And on the handle hangs the hook hand of the mass murderer. Ooh. Sometimes the boyfriend does escape because they, hear the noises and see the hook man and drive off, and still the hook hand is there. But sometimes the boyfriend dies. This is another one where there was probably a killer that had a hook for a hand. He probably killed somebody on a lover's lane. But the story just expands and grows. This is what I like about urban legends. And when you're telling them as ghost stories, I don't usually do the urban legends because I like the ghost stories that are, I don't know, from where I am. But I love hearing them because they're so great. So what if they're stories? So what if they're fake? That's pretty creepy. Guy with a hook hand hunting you down, wanting to claw you with his hook. Definitely pretty creepy. Lastly, for our trio of terrifying tales, I want to tell you the story of a witch named Mary. Apparently, this witch was in Salem in like the 1600s, and she did her things, and she was not very nice. So she ended up being cursed into a mirror, but not just any mirror, all mirrors. And now you can summon her into a mirror. However, if you're not careful when you summon her into the mirror, she'll come out and she'll kill you. It happened these girls one time. They went into the room. See, to summon her, you have to stare into the mirror. You have to say her name 3 times. You know what her name is, of course, don't you? It's Bloody Mary. Yes, you say her name into the mirror 3 times. You say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. No, wait, that's 3 for me. Uh-oh. And anyway, you start seeing her pop out, come out at you. You actually have to say it 3 times in a row, by the way, not break it up like I did. So don't think that, I didn't cheat there on purpose. I'm not saying I'm superstitious. I'm saying I'm not going to fuck around and find out. Anyway, Bloody Mary starts to reveal herself through the mirror, and you've got to turn the lights on because, by the way, you have to do this by yourself in the dark. Now, sometimes you can bring a friend in with you, but never in a large group. And she'll start coming out as a red orb, and then she'll come out at you. And if you don't turn the lights on quick enough, then she rips you to shreds with her claws, because for some reason Bloody Mary has claws. Nobody really can 100% attest to where Bloody Mary comes from. Some people think it actually refers to Mary, Queen of Scots, all the way back in the days of Henry VIII. Some people think that it's Mary Riley. Some people think that it's, a witch from Salem, actually. There are so many Marys that they can attribute Bloody Mary to. And because it's an urban legend and because it's been around for so damn long, people are just drawn to it. So remember, when you hear these stories, folks, take them with a grain of salt. Unless someone can actually tie into the historical facts of the story, there's a good chance you're dealing with an urban legend. But there's a reason that we tell these urban legends. And it's to generally make us give pause and think about our own safety when we go into situations. The idea that the call may be coming in from the house is a good idea to think about when you're thinking about securing your house properly at night. You never know who could get in. And if you're not paying attention, you could be in danger. It's very true. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and become a doomsday prepper, but you should take your safety seriously. The lover's lane thing. Of course, you should be careful when you're out in the woods by yourself. And honestly, this really wasn't so much about being careful when you were out in the woods by yourself because someone would kill you. It's about being careful when you're out in the woods by yourself because someone would create a life in you. Let's be honest. Okay? That's what this was about. It was no sex into a marriage. Don't go have sex in your car. Let's face it, I know married people that go have sex in the car, so I don't want to hear it. Really, okay? This was some 1960 stuff that has continued to grow and continues going on today, but people still hear it. And then, of course, Mary was supposed to tell us the wickedness of practicing these dark magics, which was what created her, and now she's a wicked, evil thing. And it's meant to scare people into not doing things. So take them with a grain of salt. They're urban legends. They are legends for a reason. Sometimes they have a tiny kernel of truth in them. But that kernel of truth just wasn't enough to make a good story. So you got to throw it out and make a good story. And you got to respect the story. That's going to be our show for today. Again, I want to thank Dragon Sky Monarchs Resin Walk for sponsoring and helping us with the 50th episode. I also want to give a shout out to the Truth or Demons podcast, to Jane SG66, and to Midgard. That's right, Midgard, who are all donating items to go into the giveaway. We're getting some stickers. We're getting an autograph. We're getting a CD. This giveaway, I started out and I'm like, I'm going to give away a hat and a couple of books. And now I'm giving away a hat, books, a CD, an autographed picture, a resin dragon mount piece. Somebody is going to get very lucky. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be among, right now, the Truth or Demons podcast, the Killing 15 podcast, Ouch Was That a Ghost, Adrian Nina, Nikki Klein, or Dragon Sky Monarch. It's weird, like 2 of the people involved have donated stuff, and they're getting stuff back. And what's bad is Adrian and Nikki actually already have copies of my books. They're just getting more copies of the books. So really, sign up, give them a run for their money, go for it. And to those of you who are already subscribing to the Patreon, who I just named, all of you, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You are helping me grow this podcast. We've got a lot of things in the works, a lot of things that are going to be coming down the pipe very soon. I'm working on some projects that I'll be announcing in a couple of weeks. And I really, really, really do appreciate all of your love and support. I appreciate the positive messages. I appreciate you guys being there and donating every month. I know that these times are hard. So sometimes a couple of dollars is a lot. And for you guys just to be there and to show me that support means the world to me. And it keeps me going. It keeps me coming back there every week to do this. That's our show for today. Be sure to go and check out Dragon Sky Monarch's Resin Walk. Be sure to also go and check out some of my fellow podcasters like Ouch Was That a Ghost, Truth or Demons, Killing 15, and Mortal Musings. These guys are all great. Also, the Roundtable podcast is another one that I think you guys should probably check out if you haven't had a chance to. I'm Jonathan Bean, the Carolina Storyteller, and stay spooky, my friend. I'll see you soon.